me back sometime in October to say, I cannot give you the money because HFF program will not allow you to have that money. Number two, he was saying that he will get the retrofitting funds. And number three, he said, thank you for your desire to co-supervise because the past administration refused to supervise and they only wanted monitoring. So sabi ko, no, hindi ako, gusto ko supervision. So from October, yung sinasabing monitoring team nila Engineer Pahigon was a co-supervision team already. You see, ginawa natin yon. We were back channeling with the RD. We were trying to save the first phase. Pero dumating na nga yung suspension and the hiring of Likigan. Sabi ng SP, and like I said, that's how they saw the problem, and we respect how they saw the problem. And I respected that, and I said, yes, okay. If that's what you want, suspension, so be it, suspension. Eh ako pa nga nag-supply ng pera para kumuha ng consultant. Pero wag ninyong sabihin na ako yung kumuha ng consultant, bidding yan. And in the terms of reference, ganito. Tanong kasi, the question is, what will we ask the consultant to find out? Of course, bottom line, we all agree that what we wanted was to find out whether what has been built already in phase 1 and in phase 2 are structurally sound. Diba? Hirimet ng pinhontauan inilahon. Numabalin ang usaron tao danae at nakapiyamo. Okay. So in the task force, we met again. We met. And we asked our very able engineer to draft the TOR, the terms of reference. The terms of reference, the first draft was referred to the task force. We made some revisions. Before we finalized, I wrote the congressman. I gave him a copy. I wrote the SP. I gave them a copy. And I said, please go over the draft of the TOR, and if it's okay with you, please give me your comments so that we can finalize, so that we can hire the consultant as soon as possible. Dr. Adulawan was able to find funds in her allocations that we can pay the consultant. Anong nangyari? I think it was 3 days, 4 days later, the congressman sends me a letter saying the TOR is fine with me. Go ahead. What happened to the SP? I received a very long letter from the Vice Governor expanding the terms of reference to include legal liability. Our SP at the time wanted already to find out who should pay if there were errors. But I said, I wrote back and I said, dear SP members, honorable SP members, we do not have, I do not think that the engineer has any expertise to make an opinion on a legal matter. Liability, dapat lawyer yan. I said that if you want to find out legal liability, then let us refer this matter to the NBI and to the Ombudsman. Because sila ang pwedeng magsabi kung ano talaga ang legal liability nito. In the meantime, what we wanted was just a technical engineering opinion of whether the hospital as built by the time was structurally safe. We redrafted again the TOR in its original form, sent it back to the SP, and this time our Honorable Vice Governor, and I think attested by some of the SP members, I'm not sure, signed the TOR. We sent it to the back. Isa lang ang bidder, dumating si Likigan. I don't have the terms of reference before me now. But if I have a copy, may I see a copy so that I can read to you exactly what we wanted, what the task force wanted, what the congressman wanted, what the SP wanted to find out from Likigan. Eko. Terms of reference, part 3, is specific coverage of assessment evaluation. This is signed. It says, the assessment and specifically covers the determination of the cost of the vibration on floor slabs at the first and second floors, and a check if the herein enumerated reported construction flaws of infractions and observations affect the structural part to a degree that will declare the whole or part of the structure unsafe. And we have enumerated all the items that the ICW has pointed out in their postings. So this is the term. Where is the Likigan report? Okay. The Likigan report. It says, objective of the contract of service 1, to determine structural integrity of works accomplished in phase 1 and phase 2 of the new IGH. 2, to obtain a certification that said works accomplished are structurally sound to withstand applied loads when whole structure is completed. 3, to have in-hand recommendations to correct deficiencies, if any, and to make whole structure fit for occupancy when completed. Then, the report said, its specific coverage of assessment evaluation, it starts with number 1, all the things that were mentioned in phase 2, but it omitted completely any mention of phase 1. So this report admits in itself that it did not make any findings on phase 1. The terms of reference required him to do that. So therefore, ano nangyari? I sent this report and the TOR to our PLO, to our provincial legal office for an opinion. Can I pay the consultant considering the extent of his report? And the PLO came back with an opinion, no. We cannot pay him because he failed to render the opinion on the structural integrity, which was what we were paying him for. Diba? So until today, PLGU has not paid Mr. Likigan. Mr. Likigan came to my office a few months ago, following up on this payment, and I explained to him, kitain men kami engineers, dahil ito'y kontratan, dahil ito'y inaramin mo, kurang. Kitas ano ngayon mabayaran ka? Kaya kunana, kaya konstituyon mo meron, okay ka na yun. Eh hindi mo na kinumpleto nung una eh. Diba? Ano mo, dasal mo ba? Hindi mo kinumpleto nung una. So, that's an issue. Whether or not the Likigan report had anything on phase 1, the report itself is the best evidence. Likigan did not. In fact, if you look at the tests that he was referring to, he did not make any tests on the matters that were tested by BIP as commissioned by the RD. We were hoping ngamin kaada tiimpakita ni RD nga BIP test showing that 54s were made on 2 floors slabs. And according to their opinion, 3 lang po ang pumasa beyond 3,000 PSI. We wanted Likigan to test them again so that we will know we have a comparison. Kaya hanapin na inaramid. So what will we do? Do we ignore the BIP test, even assuming that the contractor Franerec was not given his right of due process? Do we therefore ignore the BIP test saying that 70% has failed? Maybe we should resolve it now. All those here present who believe what our brother here says on his honor, that phase 1 is safe, you please stand up and tell us now that we can build on phase 1 and continue the construction from there. Because I was advised that in 2015, 110 million will be downloaded to us. Yung 25 million supposed to be for 2014 for electrical, water system, and mortgage. Ayaw nang i-implement ng DOH ngayong taon 2014. What it did was it referred that to the DPWH. Pagdating na sila na mag-implement. Pagdating sa DPWH, sabi ng DPWH, ayaw guys, aha, ati abima, tagmuhay ko po yan. O ipawangag na ko ng pido. Ipawangag na ng pido. So again mo pinhold, DPWH and implement. Nung tungtong na ano the RD and Secretary Garin, tayo na imbagan RD haoy, anahay tungtungan na numibangat ng 25 million from DPWH to DOH, i-download na ang iditaw. At ito umay na nga mo, ito probinsya. Pati ng 85 million ang i-allocate in 2015, i-download na iditaw. At mahmaha, kayo, o mabalin ang alamin ng retrofitting inae. Hay sumbat na ihaoy, basta in-download ni ida inanti ko, nangamong ayumon mun usar inaanti ko, basta idatana i-program of work tahidiyay i-monitor mo. Nung ay pinhadiyong akon. So now, the issue is like this. Kasort aton to. Noong umari ng 110 million next year, And I have information that the lifetime of funds now is 1 year. It used to be 5 years, then it was 2 years, now it's 1 year. We have to implement the 110 and have the hospital before the end of 2015. So what do we do? The first option is we build upon this hospital. Continue building upon this hospital. Anyway, in assurement, ading dunoy, ang mapor ano, ng phase 1. Bagpraman to, ng phase 2. Yun ang build to, phase 1. Pinoy ko diya. You see? Retrofit yan. Oh, andito mo ka-agree. Kaliyan ng placard hindi, thorough assessment of IDH structural problems from ground to roof. Diba? Now, maybe what ought to be done is to assess, as the placard says, from ground to roof. Yeah? But do we have time to do that? And who will make the assessment? Get another consultant who will be questioned by another consultant. How long will the assessment take? Now, Pasumogoy, December, Marimoy, December 2015. And ibangad mo ng tigo. That's the first option. We assess and tell the assessor to complete it in 10 days. Hindi nga pwede, di ba? Okay. Who will pay? We do not have the money unless my board here tells me that they have ideas where to get the money. Or ICW, maybe you have ideas on where to get the money. Or maybe anybody of you here has an idea where to get the money. The second option is to allow that 110 million to come in next year, but by that time, we should be ready with a lot, and we build a new hospital that will be completed with 110 million operational within 1 year. Doable?
Doable, yes. Your lot.
No. What will we do now with phase with the building? Singhot ko kuma ang mga yung naimsok ako to, then huyong mo. Nungay, pamahag, yatinenne, and we are pointing fingers to each other. We are not friends anymore. Urang iba kapag anak niya, friends lang. Ngayon, talim pen adito tutuduan. Because number one, there are a lot of accusations that are not based on facts. Yeah? So what to do? Why don't we now, so that we are not pressed for time, refer that building for investigation by the NBI? After all, it's the National Bureau of Investigations. It can take them 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to investigate. As we build a new hospital and complete it in 1 year. After, no, hindi sayang. Of course, if the NBI after the investigation says that all have to be demolished, then sayang. But if the NBI says that we can still make use of some parts of that hospital after we do some retrofitting, my suggestion is to now convert the 161 bed capacity. How many rooms? How many rooms? How many rooms, Engineer Pahina?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? 100? Maybe 50 rooms? My suggestion, in the event that the investigator, be it the NBI or otherwise, says that pwede pang gamitin yan after doing some remedial measures, gawin nating government center iyan so lahat ng national agencies can hold office there kasi meron na naman tayong hospital. Diba?
Pwede rin.
Saan natin kukunin ang pera kung i-convert natin na government hospital? Madali na, because the local government code says the obligation of the LGU is to provide a venue for a government center na centralized yung mga opisina para one-stop shop. The cost of construction will be borne by the national agencies. Right now, I have forwarded a letter to the SP from the COA saying that they have 20 million pesos they want to build their office. I have another letter coming from the police laboratory saying they have 5 million to build their building. DOST is already building a 7 million building in IFSU. PhilHealth, I approached my classmate, Attorney Padilla, and he said that he can give 15 million to build PhilHealth office also in Ifugao. So therefore, sa tingin ko, hindi magiging problema yung funding nito. Kasi pag in-offer natin government center yan, each of the national agencies will have to dole out their own money para makompleto yan. Di ba? Anyway, nanggaling din naman sa national government yung pera na yan eh. And we just concentrate our efforts on building a hospital that we can afford for 110 million. Nakita niyo yung hospital sa Vizcaya? Yung children's hospital? 4 stories. 4 stories. They built that for only 40 million. It is an ultra-modern hospital with pipings, lahat ng oxygen tanks, lahat ng oxygen lines are on the wall. For only 40 million, my friends, we will be having 110 million. So yun lang po ang suggestion ko. Anybody of you here is willing to donate 2 hectares by 2 weeks from now?
You.
2 weeks from now, you donate 2 hectares and we will go to DOH. Dr. Abdullawan and I will run to the RD and we will go to Secretary Garin to say that we have available 2 hectares lot. Give us now the 110 and we commit to build it in 1 year and you will have a hospital in 1 year. Take my word for it. Pero dapat mag-donate ka.
Okay, so thank you, sir, for that message.